even done anything? What if it sucks? What if I got up here and was racist as hell? And you're like, I'm so glad you guys are here. It's good to be here. I will tell you this. I've been in D.C. for about 5 years. Love this town. What a lovely city. I did run into some trouble about 2 Januaries ago. I don't know. Were y'all here for the kerfuffle? I don't know if you guys remember that. I sure do. I had a very interesting situation. You guys remember there's that photo that came out? There's that guy who carried the Confederate flag into the Capitol building. And that photo was on the cover of every magazine, every newspaper. It was on CNN, Fox News, across the aisle. Pretty cool. So I followed that story very closely. If you guys don't know the name of that piece of garbage who carried that flag into our Capitol, but his name is Kevin Seifried. And for those of you listening at home who didn't see the marketing materials for this show, my name is also Kevin Seifried. This motherfucker has ruined the internet for me. If you like my stand-up, do not look it up after the show. You will be on a list. It's right now, if you put my name into a search engine, it's just like Confederate flag, Confederate flag. Even Google is like, did you mean to contact the FBI? It sucks. Also, when it happened, I was unemployed. Yeah, so only in DC. Oh, you were unemployed. So, I was unemployed, so then that happened, and I just stayed unemployed. This is true. I sent out 15 cover letters on January 5th. Do you guys know how hard it is to write that follow-up? Hey, I just want to redact everything I said about taking initiative. I believe I misunderstood the term go-getter. My friends were such jerks. All my friends were like, dude, you're never going to be able to fly again. They all have a Staten Island accent. Dude, you're never going to be able to fly again. You're going to be on the no-fly list. Okay. Yeah, I can't fly anymore. Whatever. You ever heard of Amtrak? So I can't fly, you know, but there's some good stuff, right? Like, I also am never going to have to pay for another meal at Cracker Barrel. So, life gives you lemons, you turn them into sweet tea, baby! I just walk in there, yeah, I'll have all the biscuits, all the gravy. Yeah, just put on the Confederacy's tab. They know the name. I'm not allowed to go to Cracker Barrel. My wife has forbidden me from going. I'm not allowed to go to Cracker Barrel because they have different politics than us. I'm not allowed to go anywhere that disagrees with her on politics. Not allowed to go to Cracker Barrel, Chick-fil-A, my grandmother's. It's difficult, man, because my wife is, I love her very much. She's a very DC lady. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's super political, but also not open-minded. And, my wife will not listen to anyone who disagrees with her on stuff, which is difficult because those are my favorite people to talk to. I love talking to people who disagree with me on things because I have like interesting, nuanced conversation, you know? Sometimes I'll just go down to Navy Yard, hang out. So why do you guys hate women? Tell me about it. What I don't like, the thing that I don't like is you ever meet somebody who has the exact same political opinions as you, but they're like a little more into it? It's like, yeah, you're right, but you're making me rethink it. So, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, like I'm an atheist, okay? But every time I meet other atheists, I'm just like, all right. There's gotta be a guy. Because I am clearly being punished right now. My wife's fantastic. We got married last year. It was very exciting. Thank you so much. Love it. I love my wife, man. We got married, and we've been together 8 years, though. And I waited a long time to get engaged because I found out how much engagement rings were, and then I avoided the topic for 6 years. Do you guys know how much it's supposed to be? They're supposed to be 20% of your annual income. Baltimore, 20% of the money you bring in a year. Like, that is why we have a wage gap, men's rights. Don't nuts on that, dude. Come on. You're gonna nuts on men's fucking rights? AOC, Lizzie Warren, come on in. Get in here. We got a fucking jerk. No, you're fucking right, though, dude. Come on. He learned. Look at that. Smart guy. I almost hit him on the nuts by accident, but 20% of the money. I love my wife, dude, but I can't survive. I wasn't going to be able to survive on just 80% of what I borrow from her. Like, that is not a lot. She's a teacher. Her last paycheck was an apple. So my wife and I got in a fight earlier today. She's very mad at me because she walked in on me Netflix cheating. Do you guys know what that is, Netflix cheating? So Netflix cheating, if you don't know, Netflix cheating is where normally you wait to watch a TV show with your partner. Yeah. And then Netflix cheating is where you watch the show while having sex with another person. Okay, that's not what it is. What it is it's where you watch the show without your partner talking through every major plot point. It's where, I don't know, you enjoy television. You don't have them just asking questions that they'd probably be able to answer if they weren't asking questions. Dude, every 5 minutes my wife's like, babe, where do we know that actor from? Where do we know that actor from? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I think we know him from the last 5 seasons of this show. That's Raymond. The program is about how everybody loves him. I don't know, man. All of our fights are about TV, which I think is a good sign for a relationship. But she gets mad about every show I watch. Like, she gets mad if I watch shows she likes without her. But she also gets mad if I watch shows she doesn't like. She gets mad if I watch serial killer shows. She's just like, what, are you doing it for ideas? Like the other day she came home, I'm watching this like Ted Bundy movie, and she goes, hey, Kev, you need to stop watching all these shows about serial killers. I'm starting to worry you're going to become a serial killer. It's like mean, right? It's kind of a mean thing. Because I also watch a lot of sports. She'd never come home and be like, I'm starting to worry you're going to become someone who can get through sex without an inhaler. Like, I don't know, man. I got no confidence in that department, I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't have the confidence that you need to, like, believe in yourself there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, dude, I feel like you got a cool body language. You gotta lean back like you've helped a woman out today. She's laughing about it. You know? She's like, good time. Way better than the show. When you're done smooching somebody, do you need, like, approval, or are you, like, confident you did good?
Approval.
Approval. I like that. A little bit of humility there. He didn't mean it, but I liked it. That's good, dude. That's who I am. I need approval so bad. Like, as soon as we finish. As soon as I finish. I just turned to like a teller from Wells Fargo. I'm just like, and were you satisfied with your service today? She's like, actually, could I see a manager? Is there one available? I don't know, man. So I just want her to be happy. I want my wife to be happy because when you're married to someone, when you love somebody, your happiness is like inextricably tied to their happiness, right? You know? And it's difficult for me because my wife is a teacher. So she's never been happy. I don't know if you ever met a teacher. People just disrespect them every day. She goes to work and just like kids are rude to her. Parents are rude to her. The administration's rude to her. She comes home. I'm not polite. It's a difficult life. She never wins, dude. I feel so bad. I want her to win. I think that being married to a teacher, it's very similar to like being a fan of a team that struggles with the sport they play. Baltimore. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, every day, they get ready to go out and just, like, take on the world, right? And then they just come home defeated. You feel so bad. You just want to see something good happen for them, you know? I don't know. Like, I grew up in Denver, Colorado. So as a kid, I was a big fan of the Colorado Rockies. They're a baseball team, technically. And every single year during my childhood, they were the worst team in the league, okay? Until my sophomore year of high school, they won 14 of the final 15 games of the season. Yeah. This created a sudden death one-game play-in against the San Diego Padres at home in Denver, Coors Field. If we win this game, we will go to the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. I'm freaking out, okay? It's a very good game, maybe the best game of baseball I've ever seen. It was tied after 9 innings, so we go to extra innings. That's like overtime for baseball. And we get to the top of the 13th inning. The Padres, these are the bad guys, they score 2 runs, they take the lead, they bring in Trevor Hoffman, second most accomplished reliever of all time. Next to no chance my guys are going to win this game. But I hold out that hope, right? I got that little bit of hope that somehow we can make it happen. And in the bottom of the 13th inning, we tie the game. What? We tie the baseball game. Bottom of the 13th inning, we get runners at first and third. Now, Jamie Carroll's at the plate. I feel like this audience knows what happens next. Okay. So Jamie He hits a fly ball to right field, right? So now the right fielder, Brian Giles, he's camping out under the ball. Matt Holliday tags at third. Giles makes the catch. Holliday sprints to the plate. The throw comes in, and the catcher, Michael Barrett, drops the ball. Holliday slides. He's safe. The Rockies win. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe it. I'm jumping up and down, and like that feeling, that happiness, that joy, that like ecstasy, dude, that is how I feel when I ask my wife how her day was, and she says, can't complain. That's love, baby. I just pick up a vat of Gatorade, pour it on her head, let's go! And throw a parade. I don't know, I love baseball, and one of the things I love about my wife is that as soon as we started dating, she decided to get like interested in my interests. So she started to learn about baseball. It's very sweet of her to do. But she experiences it slightly different than me. Like, I like stats. My whole life I was a stats guy as a kid. You can name any player in Major League Baseball. I can tell you their batting average, like that. And with my wife, you can name any player in Major League Baseball, and she can tell you their exact opinions on the 2020 presidential election. She can't tell you if someone's a lefty or righty, but she can tell you if they're a lefty or a domestic terrorist. Here's the thing, though, is that her research is just listening to walk-up music. That's it. She just hears a country song and she's like, this piece of garbage. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting at a game, I'm just like cheering for the home team, and my wife is just rooting against guys who like Blake Shelton. I want to be clear. I'm not saying I don't think it's bad if athletes talk about politics. I just think it's bad if my wife does about them doing it. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind if athletes do it. You remember when people got so mad at the football players a few years ago? Everybody got mad at the football players because they were kneeling to protest murder during a song. I think it was the national jingle, something like that. I didn't understand why people were mad. Did you guys understand why people were mad? It's like, why do you care what somebody else is doing during a song? How does it impact you, what somebody else is doing during a song? I don't think I'd ever be able to understand why they would care what somebody else was doing during a song. And I thought I'd never be able to understand it. But here's the thing, is about 2 months after football season, I went to my brother's wedding. I just saw two people free dancing to the Cha-Cha Slide. And I was like, that's offensive to our nation? He said cha-cha real smooth, not make this all about you, okay? Why don't you do 2 hops off the roof? I don't know, man. I hate politics. I have strong opinions, but I hate it. It seeps into everything. You can't do anything without it now. And I thought it was just a D.C. thing. But I used to live in New York City before I gave up. And they do that shit there, too. Because I was a tour guy when I lived in New York, so I would just lie to people for a living. Like, did you guys know that did you know the Empire State Building was actually built by the Statue of Liberty? World's first Lego set. So I would tell people lies, and then I'd tell them some truths. And what I found out is people don't care if you lie to them on a tour. What they don't like is if you tell them a piece of history they didn't know. And they get real upset if it's like, takes down somebody they believed in. You know, I had this one guy freak out on a tour. He was like, what are we going to do next, dude? What are we going to do? Are we going to just take Thomas Jefferson out of the textbooks? That's what we're going to do, just because he was a slave owner. We're going to take him out of the textbooks, huh? Oh, are we going to take him off of Mount Everest? This man thought Mount Rushmore was called Mount Everest. Also, he's fighting a fight. No one's fighting. Nobody's trying to take Thomas Jefferson out of the textbooks, right? We're just trying to like add in the info that got left out the first time, right? So now instead of saying like Thomas Jefferson was a founding father, the books will just be like, I don't know, like a founding father, rapist, and slave owner. Thomas Jefferson was a jack of all trades. I would do tours all over New York, but I would also do a lot of tours at Ellis Island. And I don't know if you guys have ever wanted to have strangers yell their opinions about immigration at you every day. That had always been one of my dreams. I don't know, so I would do these tours at Ellis Island, and what I found out is that there's always somebody on a tour who wants to prove to the cool New York City tour guide, this guy, how liberal they are. But then you talk to them, they're not like they're like Pete Buttigieg liberal. Do you know what I mean? Like they've just met a gay person. So I would talk to these guys, and they'd always be so excited to tell me about how liberal they were. So we're sitting there, we're like standing in Ellis Island, and it'll come up to me. It was always like a guy wearing like a Jimmy Buffett shirt, you know, R.I.P. And I don't know if you should. Okay. So you come up to me and be like, man, these are beautiful stories of immigration, you know? I saw Hamilton. And I'll tell you what, I actually think that anyone should be allowed to come into this country. You know, as long as they don't take a job an American would want to do. What is it, the weirdest qualifier of all time? I didn't know we were allowed to get mad at somebody just because they have a job that we want. Because at this point in time, you have to remember, I was a New York City tour guide. So I was mad at most people. But I wasn't allowed to freak out about where they were born. You never saw me just like, these goddamn people from New Jersey. They're commuting into my city, taking all the temporary receptionist work. I think we ought to block the Lincoln Tunnel. No, I've always understood, you know, like if I don't get a job, it has nothing to do with where the other person was born, right? If I don't get a job, it's because I have the same name as a domestic terrorist. That's usually why. I was going through old suicide notes today, and I didn't use them, bro. I just think it's good to be prepared. You know what I mean? I just think you should have one, like, just in case. This is a joke that some people really like, and other people have bad taste in comedy. You know what I mean? I think it's good to have one just in case, because here's the thing. You don't want to wind up in a situation where you got to write that note on, like, the day that it's due. You know what I mean? You guys remember at school when you write a paper on the day it was due? Not a good paper. I don't want my suicide note to just be like, Webster's Dictionary defines suicide as. I don't want the cops to get there, they just pick it up, they're like, what did he? Hey, Bill. Did it kind of look like he plagiarized this from Kurt Cobain? I don't know, man, I've never killed myself. I'm not a ghost. But I did call the suicide hotline one time, not because I wanted to hurt myself. I just had been through like a breakup, and I wanted to talk to somebody who wasn't allowed to hang up on me. That should get a better laugh. There we go, thank you. You guys take direction very well. I don't know, man. I just wanted. I called the suicide hotline, and here's the thing. Did you know that when you call the suicide hotline, the first thing you hear is an automated message machine? It's like, you've reached the National Suicide Hotline. That's the saddest thing you could hear. The only way that could be sadder is if it was like, I don't know, like a ringback tone of a Sarah McLachlan song. And then someone in the background being like, do it. Like, that is the only way. I feel like this is a fight no one else is fighting. I don't understand. When you call the suicide hotline, they should be like nice. You know what I mean? They should make you feel good about yourself. They should treat you like a winner is what they should do. They should make you feel like you're like the winning caller at your favorite radio station. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you've reached the National Suicide Hotline and you've won 4 tickets to see Taylor Swift. But they're only valid if you stay alive. So take that noose off from around your neck and replace it with this backstage pass. Then call up 3 of your friends who love and care about you, and would be so sad to live in a world without you. A world where they could not see Taylor Swift. Press 1 to claim your tickets, press 2 if 3 friends kind of sounds like a lot. I don't know, man. You gotta find joy in the world. That's what I think you gotta do. You gotta find joy. If you're lonely, you gotta find joy. Find something that brings you some joy. I used to do, when I was younger, what I would do is I would go and get my palm read. $50, an old woman will hold your hand for half an hour. Good deal. It's very comforting. And I love palm readings because you always get the craziest readings. I remember one time I got this reading, and this woman, she was holding my hand. I'm like 22 years old. I'm very excited. She's holding my hand, and she goes, oh, it looks like in the next year, you're going to have a baby with a woman who you haven't met yet. But then 1 year later, you're going to get married to a girl who you already know, who's secretly in love with you, but hasn't said anything because you had a relationship with her sister in the past. And I was like, are you telling me that I'm going to be the star of my own telenovela? Dos mujeres, un bebé y una sonrisa peligrosa. Este verano, Kevin Cibrides, el amante prohibido. I'm going to have a baby with one woman, then marry another. There's 2 season finales. I love Spanish, man. It's my favorite language. That or emojis. Does anybody speak Spanish? Anybody here? You're doing like an elbow of her as if, don't make her speak Spanish now. That was so mean. You do?
I do.
Okay. I liked you're like, why would I raise my hand right now? What good is going to come? I'm going to say I speak Spanish. She's going to say something probably ignorant. And I was. Here's the thing. I love Spanish. Usually what'll happen is, I'm not trying to call anybody who actually speaks Spanish. Usually what'll happen is there'll be like one like drunk, like 22-year-old white sorority girl. And she'll be like, claro que sí. And then I'll try to talk to her in Spanish. And she'll be like, but not really. I just did a semester abroad in Arizona. Like, I don't really speak it. I love Spanish. Spanish was my favorite class in high school. You guys remember how like a high school Spanish class? That was just like a regular preschool class. But like some of it was in Spanish. You know what I mean? Just every day. You're just like, I don't know, like learning the days of the week, identifying colors. You have to sing a nursery rhyme for no reason. And it's like, buenos dias, buenos dias. Everybody join in. No. All right, my voice is gonna break. I'm gonna get all embarazada. Sorry? Embarazada means pregnant? I think you're thinking of a woman who I haven't met yet. I had to guess. What's crazy is that was the class that seemed the silliest to me when I was a kid. It's the only one I've used from high school or college as an adult. I didn't use anything I learned from college because I got a degree in screenwriting. Because here's the thing: is my parents growing up, they were always like, "You got to do what you love," you know. And so, like, ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved wasting money, and that's all it was. It was a waste of money. I spent thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, just taking classes that were called like Storytelling 101. And I feel so guilty about it. I feel like I just wasted so much time and money all the time. Not all the sometimes though. All right, yesterday, my wife tried to tell me a story. And I was like, I mean, you could have taken a class. My wife is the smartest human being I know. She has 2 master's degrees. She can tell you the presidents in order, back to front, front to back. She knows what the difference is between the Senate and the Congress. Genius alert. Okay, I truly believe she can do anything she puts her mind to. The only thing my wife cannot do is leave any detail out of a story. You know when you're watching TV and there's that thing that's like, last season on Westworld. If my wife was in charge of that, she would just play the last season of Westworld and then talk through the entire fucking thing. Oh, man. I got a whole family of artists. I'm from a family of artists. 3 of my siblings are actors. I'm a comedian. My sister has an Instagram. And I love it, man. The one thing with my family is that I don't fit in with them because there's no easy way to say this. My family's very hot. I know that's a weird thing for me to say to you guys, like, but if you saw them, you'd be like, erect. You know what I mean? Like, my brother is the hottest man I know. My brother, here's how my brother is. He was once cast as the body double for James Franco in a TV show. Yeah. And I just looked like if Ed Sheeran was possessed by the Tasmanian devil. Like, that's not fair. My brother was once an Abercrombie and Fitch model, and last week I did a show and a woman came up to me and told me I looked like Leonardo DiCaprio if his corpse floated to the top of the ocean at the end of Titanic. It sucks, man. My brother's so hot. My brother, he's a gay guy. He's had 5 boyfriends, and all of them were straight before. Yeah. Like, people... Yeah, dude. People think being gay is like a choice. It isn't. My brother decides for you. He actually got married a couple of years ago to one of his converts. And I remember before the wedding, my grandma was very old. She was in a nursing home. She could come into town for the wedding. So we went to visit her. We're sitting down. We're having lunch. She asked how my wife was doing. I said she's okay. She turned to my brother. She asked how his friend was doing. And my brother was like, oh, he's all right. And she goes, now what should I call him? I don't know what to call him. And my brother's like, you can just say fiance. When we get married, it'll be my husband. But whatever's comfortable for you. And in what was the sweetest moment of my 85-year-old grandmother's life, she looks my brother in the eyes and she goes, no, it's not about what's comfortable for me. It's about what's comfortable for you. Wow. What a powerful moment. Like, that's like third act of a Queer Eye episode. Kind of shit, you know? So we're kind of like, you know, wiping back tears as we get in the car. We're like, wow, like a transformational, what a wonderful moment. We get in the car, we're driving home, and we get a call from my mom. And she goes, guys, I just got off the phone with your grandmother. She had the best time with you too. She cannot wait to see you again and hopefully meet Will's playmate. He was not comfortable with that at all. He stopped the car on the highway. He was like, Grandma, we don't call it playmate, okay? Let's go with leather daddy. Like, that's even better. I don't know, man. I do love my mom. She's great. She's a very liberal white lady. You know what I mean? She's liberal until it impacts her, then she's conservative. My mom loves the liberal identity. That's the thing she loves the most. She loves being a liberal. So like when my brother came out, she was stoked, dude. Because he just made her like the most diverse white mom at our school. She was so excited. Because I'm one of 5 kids. Okay, I have 2 sisters, 2 brothers. Both my brothers are gay. But growing up, my mom thought that my little brother was transgender. And she wanted one of my sisters to be a lesbian so badly. Because then she would just have like a royal flush of sexuality. Dude, she'd win every PTA meeting. She'd just be like, straight boy, gay boy. Straight girl, gay girl. And the river, it's one in transition. So suck it, Susan. Looks like I'll be running the bake sale this year, bitch. Why don't you take your heteronormative kids out of here? We're making rainbow cupcakes. She's a good lady. My mom, her heart is always in the right place. She's an activist against domestic violence. That's what you got to do when your kids move out. You know, you just find a cause that's never affected you and define yourself by it. Stay with me, DC. I'm not saying you can't raise awareness if you're not a victim. That is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is if you talk about domestic violence all the time, it does not make dad look good. Doesn't reflect well. The issue she's always been the most passionate about is emotional abuse. You guys know what that is? Where someone will like isolate their partner from their friends and make them completely codependent. It's a really messed up thing to do. But my mom just uses the term too broadly. So like last year I forgot to call her for a week, and she called me up one day and she goes, "Hey Kevin, you can't go a whole week without calling me. That is emotional abuse." No. That just means I didn't need money this week. That is... Like, I don't know, man. She got in a fight last year with my dad. It was one of the worst fights I've ever seen. She's just sitting at the table, and out of nowhere, this was not provoked, just out of nowhere, she looks at my dad and she goes, "Hey, Phil, women, they can do anything men can do." And my dad was like, "Okay." And she goes, "You shut up!" 1 glass of Pinot Grigio. "You shut up." I said, "Women can do anything men can do." Look at Amelia Earhart. Now I gotta like step in. Like, Ma, like there's so many brilliant, talented, incredible, amazing women who can fly planes all the way there. There's so many. You literally picked the one woman who couldn't do a thing a man had done. All right, at the beginning of the conversation, my dad thought that women could do anything men could do. And by the end of the conversation, he was like, "Yeah, I guess except for fly planes or come up with examples." Like, I give my mom credit, though, because she does deal with my dad. And my dad is not, I don't want to say he's a misogynist, but like he's a guy over 60, so you fill in the blanks. My dad is one of those dudes, he feels like a need to like point out whenever he sees a hot girl. Ever since I was a little kid, he just feels the need to let everybody know if he sees a hot girl, but he thinks he's very sneaky about it because he has a code word. He calls hot girls Canadians. Okay, James Bond. So he'll be walking around and he'll be very sneaky. He'll be like, "Hey, Kev, check out the tits on that Canadian." And the most embarrassing that ever was, one time, I was like 17 years old, we're walking around this college campus, okay? And I'm doing a tour of this campus, and we walk onto the quad, and there was just like a volleyball team working out. And my dad goes, "Hey, pretty good Canadian population here, huh?" But we're like on a group tour. So the tour guide turns around, and she's like, is that something you're looking for? In an institution? And then there was just this one poor girl from Toronto, and she raises her hand and she goes, oh, I'm Canadian. And my dad goes, I don't think so. Wasn't very nice. Do you guys mind doing me a huge favor? I'm not trying to be a dick. I normally don't get mad at people with phones, but literally there's cameras. So it'll look like you guys hated the material. What if I just ruined the whole show? You know what I mean? But I just didn't want to, because like that joke was really good, but now that's like, this comedian's killing. But they don't know. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a copy of that. I know you guys were just following me on Twitter or whatever. So during the special, Sherwin, are you taking notes? That's the director. We're going to take your text and put it next to the comedy so they know you weren't like ignoring it. They're going to be like, you guys like, this guy's so good. We got to come here every Thursday when he has a free show called Batting Cage Comedy. Got to be here every week. We should just give him $1 billion, I think. Killer. Fucking want him back, baby. I don't know, man. I love my folks. I never visit them, though. I don't like going home because they gave my room to a dog. And I don't like... The dog's a jerk, dude. Every time I go there, the dog, will not leave me alone the whole time. He follows me everywhere I go. He won't give me a single minute of time to myself. He's just such a jerk. And the last time I was there, I woke up the last day I was there, and the dog was on my bed, which technically is his bed, but he was on my bed. And he just started growling at me. It's 9 a.m. He's growling at me. He's barking at me for 20 minutes. It might have been a minute, but it felt like 20 minutes. And I was terrified. And then my mom came home. We ran downstairs to see her. And I had to shake it off. And I went downstairs and I was like, Mom, your dog tried to attack me. And she goes, no, he wasn't attacking you. That's just play. That's just play. And I was like, actually, Gretchen? That is emotional abuse. That's what that's called. I don't know. I don't really consider Colorado my home anymore because I've been in D.C. for a long time. I've been here about 6 years. And I don't know. Here's the thing, man, is I love D.C., but the thing I get frustrated with, you ever feel like people in the city try so hard to sound liberal that they become conservative? Do you know what I mean? I was talking to a friend recently about, he was telling me how pro-choice he is. And we were talking, and I was like, oh, you are? As long as the woman doesn't choose to have a baby. Do you know what I mean? Because the whole point of that entire decision is to be able to, empower a woman to choose the life that she wants. You know what I mean? And that's not what we do in this city. I feel like in the South, a woman's going to the clinic and make one of the toughest decisions you have to make in your life. And people are like, don't do it. The Bible. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what their logic is. But in D.C., I feel like if a woman's about to go into labor, people are like, don't do it. Think about your career. They have poster boards of dead careers. It's abandoned pantsuits. 401k with a frowny face where the O's supposed to be. Life begins on LinkedIn. It's a weird town, man. I feel like at least everything about this town is everyone's doing better than me. Stop. Okay, I feel like everyone here is doing better than me, and people kind of rub it in a little bit. They don't do that in Baltimore, do they? No, everyone's doing shitty. I love that about that town, dude. That's my fucking speed, baby. But people are doing better than me, and they'll rub it in. I was on the subway the other day, and I'm just sitting there. This is important. I didn't do anything wrong in this story. You guys understand? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm innocent in this story. I haven't done anything wrong at the beginning. I'm just on a train. I paid I didn't even jump the train. I just paid. Just sitting there. I'm on the train. I've done nothing wrong. These two guys get on the train, and they were wearing suits. Get a load of this. They were my age. I believe that's what we call bullying. All right, so I'm sitting there and I'm eavesdropping. I want to figure out how I can become one of the Brooks brothers. And as I'm listening, one of the guys in the suit starts explaining to the other one why $15 minimum wage is bad. He was like, it's like a tax on small companies. And then he just started using words I'd never heard before, like a profit. And I looked down and I realized the guy in the suit, his fly was down. My turn to be the bully. So I sit there, right, and I wait for 7 stops. We get to my stop. I stand up. I tap this guy on the shoulder, and I go, hey, buddy? Hey, yeah, when you're done explaining why the working class doesn't deserve a living wage, your fly's down. And then I turned, and the doors did not open. So I'm just shaking, and I feel a rather aggressive finger on my shoulder. And I turn back, and this guy goes, "Hey, buddy, when you're done trembling like a coward, your fly's down." And it was, so I zipped up. We high-fived. He actually offered me a job. It's $14 an hour. I think I'm going to take it. You guys probably get this from my like general energy, but I've been to a psych ward before. If you don't know, when you get to a psych ward, the first thing that happens is they put you in a wheelchair, regardless of how good your legs are. They're just like, I know you're at the lowest point in your life, but could you be lower? The reason I went is I have bipolar disorder, which is actually like very fun about half of the time. And if you don't know, bipolar disorder, all it means I can't really handle my emotions. You know, I can't control them very well. Sometimes I get depressed. Other times I go into like a hypomanic state. That's where my brain will move a million miles a second. I'll get very irritable. I'll blow up at people for no reason. And I hate that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be like mean to people. You know, I don't like being in that state. But it's hard to work through because I don't have anybody to talk to about it. Because all my friends are comedians, so like their worries are dumb. You know, I was trying to talk to one of my friends, and he's so worried someone's going to find one of his old tweets. And I'm, like, way more worried someone's going to find one of my old calls that was recorded for quality assurance. I'm pretty sure the last time I talked to my cable company, I accused them of planning 9/11. And then before they could say anything, I was like, oh, wait, I'm so sorry. Never mind. That couldn't have been you. That would have required fucking showing up on time. We're going to hit the building between 8 a.m. and noon. I don't know, man. I think... Oh, I got a job. I met this recruiter on the subway earlier. And I got this new job. And when you get a job, you got to fill out all those ADA forms, right? You know, they say, like, if you have a disability and they can accommodate it or whatever. And on the list of, like, disabilities you can have, they listed bipolar disorder. Nice try. Bro, I'm not going to tell my boss that I've been medically diagnosed as difficult to work with. I don't even know what they would do. What would the accommodation be, even, right? HR's just kind of come in, they're like, hey, we saw that you put down that you're bipolar. Is there anything you're going to need from us? I don't know. Forgiveness, eventually. Maybe I need faith. I think that might be what I need. I need faith in the world. Does anybody believe in anything? Ghosts or something? No. We had, on the first day, there was a girl who like started to put her hand up and then realized what city she was in and just like stopped. And then I asked her what it was, and she goes, Jesus. She was so scared. I'm like, it's a Catholic bar. There's cop doors upstairs. You know what I mean? They believe in hell. It's where they're from. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm not a big religion guy. To me, the weird thing is, isn't it wild that like monotheism is the #1 type now? That's crazy. The idea that there's one God instead of many gods. Because I've been traveling recently. I feel like the more you see of the world, the more you're like, this isn't all the same guy. I don't think the person who designed the Amazon rainforest also came up with the concept of Milwaukee. I think that if you look at the world, you can see that it's all done by different gods. And I think animals are like the best example. Because animals, I feel like they were like the last assignment on like finals week of creation. You know, every god had to turn in one animal, and then they could go live in a cloud or whatever. And I think it's kind of fun because you can imagine, if you think about the different types of like students you went to school with, like you can imagine like their corresponding god, and then the animal that came from it. Right? So imagine people you went to school with, their corresponding god, the animal that came of it. You know, and I wish I was there for that, right? You know, you got that one god, it's like that stoner. He's always stoned every meeting, no matter what. He's just spitting out wild ideas. It's like, I gotta come up with an animal? Okay. Okay. What if we took a fish, but we put it so deep in the ocean that its forehead grew a light bulb? What do you have? And then you got that one god who, like, he's only a god because his dad is friends with the dean of gods. You know, he's just doing the minimum to get by. He's just like, slug. And then you got that god who like did not go to a class the entire semester of creation. And he gets there the last day and did not know there was a project. So he just tries to copy someone who's already presented. Right? So 5 people earlier, there's some god who's just like, yeah, this is a crocodile. And then he's like, all right. I got an idea too. This is an alligator. Think we can move on to the next? Sorry? How is it different? Fuck. You mean, like, in what ways? I just wanted to confirm. You didn't ask Slug Guy any questions, so. Yeah, well, I get, the leg. No, that's the exact same. Well, when this one leaves a room, you say, see you later. That's an in a while situation. All right, guys, see you later. I'm Kevin Seaver. Thank you so much. Have a great night.